We are doing a digital storytelling project with our partner, the Moseley Exchange in Moseley, which really aim to collect the stories of the user of the exchange, the co-workers and the people using the building doing yoga or social activism type of group, campaigning for the development of the neighborhood. But also the wider story in the neighborhood in Moseley of the people living there and working there. Jess and Maria, the staff from the exchange, have actually been trained on how to do digital storytelling. So what is digital storytelling about? And what has been really fantastic is that it managed to broker and to help us understand each other. So we had to tell our stories, and we had like story circles, and then we had to record each other, and then we took pictures. And then in the end was about audio editing, which actually is a very long job, and also putting those pictures together with the audio editing to create this kind of 2 minutes or 3 minute snippet of a story. Just by putting those pictures and this voice together, you have a lot of time actually a very moving moment. So I'm really hoping that we can bring this forward to the neighborhood.
I think it was interesting hearing the stories that came out of other people's images that they brought in. It was interesting to see that most people didn't realise that they had a story until it was all discussed, and then people realised, oh, actually that is a story, and the story was developed through like group discussions.
The kind of training we've had has really opened my eyes, I think, to the process of getting to know people, really thinking hard about what kind of a story are we going to talk about, and the relationship between you and the person whose story it is, how you work together, how you how the relationship is much more of equals. It's not like a journalist coming in and capturing something, it's more working it out together. And then, you know, taking time, I think, taking time to explore that a little bit. So pacing yourself in terms of the process rather than rushing into getting, you know, a great 2 minutes of audio.
The most important skill that I've found is how to put the audio with the pictures and how to build the story from looking at each picture.
Today we are actually at the Moseley Street Fair and at the stand of the Moseley Exchange, and we are actually trying to gather the story of the wider neighborhood. So we've been stopping people on the street and say, well, this is what we're doing, we're collecting story from the neighborhood, we would love if you could actually tell us your story. We had lots of actually positive responses and very individual and personal stories which actually reflect nicely on Moseley as a neighborhood.
A very large number of the people in Moseley are people like myself who've come from other parts of the country and just settled or came here for work and then eventually settled down and brought up a family. There are lots of people in temporary accommodation as students and various people with temporary jobs. There's an immigrant population from several, not only people from the Indian subcontinent, but European and others who have been coming here for a long time. There was a big Jewish community in Moseley at one time, because there's the only Jewish school in Birmingham. King David is in Moseley. And there were a lot of refugees came around the times of the war. So there are all sorts of stories that are available from all of these different types of people.
In this case, what we would like to do is actually connect the people from the exchange, the co-workers, the other users of the building, with the wider community. The Moseley Exchange is a lovely building, but because it's in the backyard of the post office, a lot of people actually don't know it's there. So we're hoping by doing this platform and those different media and connecting those people, we can actually improve the kind of relationship, or if we're really optimistic, about the social capital of the place.
Well, we recorded a lot of different stories from the different people using the building. So people from the co-working space, people who rent offices here, in addition to the ones we've already got from some of the community organisations that use the building. And they all have quite interesting and different stories to tell, and it'll be good to be able to collate all those stories and give people the opportunity to listen to them and see how many diverse activities and how many diverse people are resident here in the building. I enjoy the whole notion of digital storytelling, so what it means that it's easily shareable. In effect, it could be accessible to anyone, and that's the point. It can be as polished or as rustic as you want it to be. So I'm really positive about it in terms of the philosophy behind it. If we can create stories that are then also useful to the individuals who've contributed those stories, that would be perfect.
We had a questionnaire and we asked everybody, do you know about digital storytelling? And what was quite surprising is that none of them knew anything about digital storytelling. So they were all a bit apprehensive about it and everything. So what I'm really looking forward is how, when we are going to have finished editing the story and put their words and their pictures together, what will be their reaction?
It was good fun to be at the screening this evening. It's been a few months since I first gave the interview to Tamara, and it was really fun to be part of an audience, even listen to my own story being told, to see some of the still images that have been taken.
Other people's stories are very interesting and I think pretty inspiring actually, because Moseley is a place that welcomes a lot of different people, very diverse people.
I was really pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. It was wonderful. In Moseley, it's all about people and connecting with them and having a relationship with them.
So much of the time we don't hear our own voices, we don't see our own pictures, and to a certain extent we need to hear ourselves more and see ourselves more to understand how we come across to other people.
A lot of archived photographs were shown of Moseley. I think it was during the 1970s, and it was great seeing a stall set up on the corner next to Boots Chemist. Next up, Muhammad Ali appeared, in which I was quite astounded that someone like Muhammad Ali would have been in Moseley. I was still shocked that Kebabish has been running for such a long period of time, so it's really exciting living here and having such well-known places to eat and drink. They were present all those years ago, and to see a little bit of history behind them as well.
I was quite surprised, pleasantly surprised with all these things that's going on here, especially all the shared things where you can share your time. I didn't even realise that was going on here, and no money doesn't change hands. It's exchanging your skill, you know, and then to know if you've got a business at home, you can come here to do it. I didn't realise there were so much things going on, because I only used to come here to see the councillor, and then I used to just go. Didn't realise so many things was going on here. I really didn't. Quite surprising. But I shall explore that now. I shall.
I really like the mural that we now have at the entranceway to the Moseley Exchange. It's an interesting piece of artwork. It's going to tell good stories, and I think that it's hopefully something that a lot of people passing through Moseley will stop to see and read all about what we do here.
Well, I just think it's an opportunity to tell the world and about Moseley, not the world, but Moseley and wider Birmingham perhaps, and you know, people who come, people who visit, they will have an opportunity to learn about Moseley just by going onto the website. So I think it's pretty exciting actually.